Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to our Thursday meeting. It's 9 p.m. here in Ireland and London, 11 p.m. in Lithuania, and 10 p.m. in France. So it's a pleasure to have you here. So feiute for my Irish friends, all people and brothers and sisters who are in Ireland or not in Ireland. I don't know where you're watching this. So our warmest welcome from Ireland. Thank you.
Olá, boa noite. Queridos do mundo todo, que estão ouvindo em português, mas que entendem inglês, que é a nossa live dessa noite. Good evening, everyone, everywhere. We are so happy to be here again. We're talking about this beautiful topic this evening, and I hope everyone will be connected with us and receive the benefit of this live. Thank you very much.
Labas vakaras visiems, laba diena. Šiandien turėsime dar vieną pokalbį apie dvasingumą ir nušviesime gyvenimo klausimus. Šiandien tema bus maldos galia ir efektyvumą. Tikiuosi, kad jums bus naudinga. Hello, everybody. Good evening, good day, good afternoon, good morning, whenever you are watching today or tomorrow. And hope you enjoy the talk for today. Will be about the efficacy or effectiveness of prayer. Thank you very much for joining us.
Bonjour, bonsoir. Merci d'être avec nous encore une fois ce soir. C'est un plaisir de pouvoir vous apporter quelques informations sur l'efficacité de la prière. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy to be here again with you to tell you a few words about the efficiency of prayers.
Okay, so as everybody said, today we're going to talk about the effectiveness of the prayer. So we go through some philosophical and scientific aspects of the prayer. Interesting thing we have now to show to you today. It's a live reach of information. And before we start, I want to show you guys a short video, and of course this video will give us an idea about the prayer.
How do you pray? What is prayer? And it's amazing how many people think that words are enough. I say, well, words, they're meaningless. They're rubbish. All of us have bad memories. And in order to progress spiritually, to be patient, to be tolerant, to remember to practice charity. And of course, I throw all the time there, without charity, there's no salvation. And I remember once I drew, when I was giving lectures, I drew a little drawing of a little person sitting on a chair like you are, saying a prayer. But what is falling down is just letters falling in a heap on the floor. But a prayer, which is the sentiment, is the vibration that goes up. It's all part of the whole process within Spiritism that gives us the insight as to who and what we are, what the goal is, and how we have to work in order to reach that goal. It's all part of the process. You cannot deny the constant presence of the benefactors, guiding you, helping you, And I think, like myself, a person alone, you're more in contact with the spiritual world and they look after you.
Okay, so after this wonderful introduction about prayer from our dear beloved Janet Duncan, so it's amazing her her inspiration to us, you know. So I'd like to start this round table here, and I want to go to France. And Charles, do you think the prayer depends in where you are, or depends your faith? Your faith depends of your need or situation. Is there any difference? Does we have any choice of, oh, I want to pray in this way because in this way God will hear me, or I will pray in that way because I don't want to hear me too loud? Or that is some differences. Depends of my culture, depends of my faith in terms of prayer.
Thank you for the question, Stevan. So I enjoyed very, very much to listen to our dear Janet. And basically, she told in very few words almost everything. And basically, Spiritism, so we have seen in the first emissions that we have a soul, that this soul is surviving after death, is reincarnating. We have seen also that the soul can communicate, in these incarnated souls can communicate with incarnated souls. And Spiritist teachings, they are bringing us even more information. For instance, we are all surrounded, as we are here incarnated, surrounded by air, for instance, by the atmosphere. Janet told about the world. The words are meaningless when they are alone. What is the word? The word is just emitting some acoustic waves that are transmitted through this atmosphere, and that have how to say a limited extension. When you are too far away from someone, you cannot hear it anymore. But what Spiritist teaching are giving us is we are also surrounded by the universal cosmic fluid. So this is what the spirits answering to Allan Kardec's question called as being the primary agent, which is how to say interlinking us all, even between souls, incarnated souls and disincarnated souls. And it is also as the air is transmitting the acoustic waves of the world, this universal cosmic fluid is the agent of transmitting our thoughts. So if we are thinking something, we can express it or not. What is the first mean is the first. What is most important is that we are emitting thoughts. These thoughts are being transmitted by this universal cosmic fluid, and if we are thinking about, for instance, someone in particular, it's like if you send an email to someone in particular, or if you call on the phone someone in particular, these thoughts will travel through this universal cosmic fluid and reach the person or the persons we are thinking about. And this is how to say, the spiritist explanation of the transmission of the thoughts, which has been later on, after Kardec, called telepathy as well, no? And which has been, through modern protocol and parapsychological investigations, demonstrated as being totally operational, even if we put you in a Faraday cage. So it's not of electromagnetic nature. It is something which is beyond electromagnetic nature. So that's first thing. Second thing, now, when we talk about prayer, what is prayer? As Janet told it, if you just are by heart telling some words and repeating them X times and whatever, without having the thought associated to it, it will not go out of the room, because the people which are outside the room will not hear you anymore. But if you associate your thoughts to these words, or even if you emit thoughts even without words, that will then have much wider reaching. And it's even, how to say, since it is not of electromagnetic nature, as we know this, like how to say, Hertzian waves or even light, you know that these are limited in velocity, the material electromagnetism, which is the velocity, the speed of light, 300,000 kilometers per second. It cannot go quicker than that. But these thoughts, which are not of material nature, which are not of electromagnetic material nature, they how to say it, are not in the 4 dimension of space and time. They are beyond that. And in this way, it is not yet scientifically demonstrated, but they are reaching huge distances much quicker than the light. When you think, for instance, the sunlight takes some minutes to come from the sun to the earth, and then takes some more hours to go until Jupiter and so on. And then you have the distance between stars, which is measured in, how to say, how many years the light would need to cross this distance in year lights. But this does not exist with the thoughts. Their reaching is, we could consider it as immediate, whatever the distance, because it's not in the space-time, in the 4th dimensions. So to answer more practically to your question, Stevan, clearly, now we can think, okay, do we emit positive thoughts, for instance, of love, of helping, of thanking, or of, how to say, calling our spiritual guide, as Janet told, we are surrounded by spirits. Okay, these thoughts will then enter in harmony with these persons or with these spiritual guides and reach them. In other words, we are elevating our thoughts to reach the symphony with them. And this is how the first function of the prayer is exactly this. We elevate our thoughts, we elevate our souls towards higher, as Janet told, towards God. And with this, we reach a better symphony with our spiritual mentors, who can then send us thought back by intuition, by inspiration, to help us to overcome the difficulties. Now let's think in the opposite way. If we are selfish, if we have hate, if we have envy, if we have revolt, if we are really have negative thoughts, what will be the effect? It will be exactly the opposite as before. I mean, instead of elevating us, we will lower our thoughts, and then we will come in symphony with spirits which have the same thoughts. So we enter in a kind of a vicious circle. We come down, and instead of getting help, we will, how to say, enter in this feedback loop, which is basically negative. and it will make our stress, our depression, or whatever, our difficulties bigger. So the function of prayer is exactly as you told: elevate our thoughts. Of course, we can pray God, we can pray the good spirits, we can pray Jesus, Buddha, whoever. That doesn't matter. You pray for elevated spirits. At the end, it comes to the same, because this is part of the same team here. And how to say, whoever then will attend us. Generally, it's our spiritual mentor, but we enter in this positive loop. And now they know what we need and what we don't need, what is good for us, and they know better than us what is good for us. Because a lot of time, what we think is good for us, or what we think is bad for us, usually is not so bad. It could be even good. For instance, you think, okay, it's raining, I would like to go out and to walk around, and it's raining, it's really not good, and so on, and you are not happy because of the rain, whatever. But at the end, the next day or the next days, you can see that the rain has helped the flowers to grow and so on. And the next day, when you go out, you see the benefit of the rain that you were shouting that day. So these spiritual mentors, they know exactly what we need and what we don't need. So basically, what we have to ask is not for something. For instance, when you are ill, you can, of course, ask for help to overcome the illness and to how to say, to be healed. If that is generally our first wish. But sometimes the illness is helping us much more than what we think. So the mentors, they will, of course, receive our call, but then they will act to what is the best for us. And this is why when we make them prayer, it's sometimes better not to ask for something specific, but to ask for their assistance, for their help, for having patience, humility, strength to overcome, courage to overcome the difficulties. And this is what we will get anyhow all the times. And again, they know what we need, but we have to make this movement to enter in synchrony with them. And this is really the basics of the effectiveness of the prayers. And it does not depend on, it must not be a long prayer. It must come really from your thoughts, from your heart. It does not need to be at a given point or place or time. You don't need to be in a church or whatever to pray. You can pray at any moment when you feel well. And this prayer will, as long as it is done with the thoughts and with the heart, it will be heard and will for sure have effects. So I think that's roughly how to say, to introduce the subject, to answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. And Elsa, my darling, now we go to UK. Let me put her here, UK, on the spot now. My dear.
Before you ask a question, Stevan, let me introduce one of the beautiful works of Janet Duncan. 34 years ago, she translated this psychological book, The Gospel According to Spiritism, into English for the first time. Since Kardec times, there has no translated the Gospel. And the end of the Gospel, full of prayers for teaching people that don't know how to pray, can browse and see the prayer and perhaps wake up how to pray, as Charles pointed very, very well, and Janet as well. So she is the translator of this gospel according to Spiritism. Now it's your turn.
Yeah. Good.
You are about what?
No, well, my question is, question 666 of the Spirits book. Kardec asked the following question to the spirits. Could you explain about may we pray to spirits. So,
Yes.
in other words,
Yes.
can we pray to the spirits? Can we pray for someone who is not here among us or not incarnated here?
Yes. We are spirits. We are incarnated for certain period of years. We have entire life, eternal life. We have many, many existences that we call reincarnation, that we studied a few episodes before. So gradually, we are building up the way to understand that we are immortal beings. We have energy, we have the power to do many things, as Jesus pointed us that we can do what he had done and much more. That means we can pray for our spirits that they are elevated ones, elevated than us, so they are in charge to help humanity evolve. Not evolve only giving assistance. If we don't evolve ourselves in order to achieve this synchrony to receive help. We are praying for someone that is ill in Brazil, for example. I am here in the UK. I have the power with my thoughts, as Charles mentioned beautifully, and my will, and I pray for someone to receive this good energy as a healing. So this energy goes there totally in a speed that is impossible to know how this can be done, but the benefactors, they are spirits, they can go there and help my friend there. It's one very nice thing that we can do to heal the world. We can pray for the world. We can pray for someone that is ill. Even we can pray for discarnated, beloved ones in the spiritual world. Because we are here, I die tomorrow, I will be the same person as a discarnated soul. I will be in spiritual world as I am here now. If I am a bad person, I will be a bad person in the spiritual world until someone is praying for me. I can wake up, I can see the benefactors around me, I can receive this help, and I can go to the schools, to the colonies to know about what I'm doing, what I have done, and what I can do to improve ourselves. And so the spiritual benefactors are acting there, acting here, and the prayer is our connection. We can connect with the spirits through prayer. Even the prayer that help people, for example, in hospitals. So we can pray for doctors, for nurses. They have more strength to carry on their duties because they are really, really tired to work day and night. In the world are a beautiful net. They are working, helping the ones on earth. We are praying in spiritism, philosophy. We are praying in churches, in Catholicism, evangelical, in Islam. We are praying everywhere. The prayer, there is no format, no language, is only by thoughts. Our talk to the spirits only by thoughts. How can I say if my prayer is really going to somewhere what I want? You have to be confident. You have to have your faith. Your faith is something that helps you to be a better person, help you to improve your way to think, help you to diminish your own vicissitudes, vices, addictions, etc. We can pray for ourselves. Prayer, for me, is not only a religion, is a religare, a connection to the spiritual world. So we can use our prayer in our homes, with our families, improve our children with the responsibility, with the actions inside our homes, our families, being a good person, a good father, a good mother, and pray together. This moment is a relaxation for the families. We acting all day long in a speed doing loads of things. We don't stop to pray. And prayer harmonizes our soul between our body and our physical body and our soul. Two bodies, spiritual body, physical body. We can harmonize ourselves, but we have to calm down, sit, relax, or lie down and pray. Same words, no same words, as Charles already said. There are more things to do regarding people that you say to you, oh, you don't need to take your medicine. You only pray for the benefactor, I give a healing to you. It's done. It's good. No, not only that. If you are under medicine, under doctor treatment, you have to have your treatment, your medicine, and you can add spiritual prayer. You can add spiritual healing. You can add these good things to your life, but don't stop taking your medicine because someone different religion say to you, you don't need to go to do that, I can cure you. No, go to your way to live, respecting your doctor, your medicine, your life, respecting your religion, and do the best for you with this alternative prayer. I think I more or less have to say, but I'll stop here for now, Stevan. Okay?
Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's very important what you said. Doesn't matter where you are, doesn't matter the prayer reads. But another question, let's put on the spot now, Lithuania. My dear, we have Charlie saying, yeah, you can pray, doesn't matter where you are, you can pray. Elsa saying, I can pray for someone, she's in UK, and her prayer reaches someone in Brazil, someone in US, in Lithuania. What science tell me about that? What's the context?
Yeah, well, I'm going to start with the definition. So according to the National Center for Complementary and Alternative Medicine in the United States, prayer can be defined as an active process of communicating with and appealing to a higher spiritual power. So talking about statistics now, 82% of Americans believe that prayer can cure serious illnesses. 73% believe that praying for others can cure illness. And 64% want their physicians to pray for them. So as Elsa said, we need to pray for the physicians, the doctors and nurses and all the workers in the hospital, but our patients want us, doctors, to pray for them. So that's a good reminder for all my colleagues around the world. So we can say to them, we're going to pray for them, and we can do it, not just words, as Janet said, and we will emphasize it, but we have to feel it. And 3 out of 4 Americans pray daily, according to the Gallup polls. I say about Americans because they have this type of polls, research, and data, statistic data, so easier to find on the internet. But again, according to Spiritism, in the Gospel, as I also showed this, it's saying that it's through prayer that man obtains the assistance of the good spirits who come running to sustain him, the man, in his good resolutions and inspire wholesome ideas. And in the realms of mediumship, André Luiz, through Chico Xavier, said that through prayer, the donor, the person who prays, casts out from their own midst the shadows which gather in their daily striving, with absorbing, renovating substances for their own well-being from the spiritual plane. So when we are praying for others, we are also receiving the benefits of the prayer, this energy from the universal cosmic fluid, as Charles said. So it helps both ways. So us and the patient, the person who we are praying for. Janet Duncan said, prayer is vibration. So I would like Stevan to put some one slide that I found in the Heart Math UNIDO.org. It's an institute. Can you put it bigger? Maybe me smaller and then bigger. Thank you. So on the left of the screen, the magnetic field of the heart, and on the right is Earth's magnetic field from NASA, the National Aerospatial Institute in the US. So according to this institute, I want to put both together so you can see that this electric magnetic field that we emanate or the magnetic field. So we are all connected. So energy is all around us. So the of touch, detection and measurement of cardiac energy exchange between people. So they connected electrodes on the brain, so EEGs, electroencephalograms, and electrodes on the chest, so electrocardiograms, and they measure the connectivity. And they at the end of the study, they showed that our thoughts, attitudes, and emotions emit this energetic field. And the heart's electromagnetic field can be felt 5 feet away, so 1.5 meter away from another person. So they were or standing in front of each other, the person, the people from the studies, or they even touching each other. So the more organized electromagnetic field showed in the study, it was according to the positive emotional states. And there is a very important attitude to intention to heal. So when we talk about intention and empathy, so we need to have, as Elsa said, the feeling and the empathy to the other person as well, to have more impact in the effectiveness of prayer, as we said. And I found today a very interesting doctor in the US as well. It's called Faith Healer. He is from Cleveland, Ohio. He's a surgeon and anesthetist formed. He has been graduated. And he's a healing doctor. It's called Issam Nimi. And he says that prayer is energy, so something that can have different levels of quality. And that's why it's so difficult to have methodological scientific studies, because we cannot, it's quality, it's not quantity. So it's difficult to measure, because prayer is infused with mental, emotional, and spiritual factors. We can try to measure various studies. So we have randomized control trials, we have observational studies, we have systematic reviews, comparative studies, but it's very difficult to measure the prayer, the effectiveness or the efficacy of prayer, because you cannot, even if one of the studies, that the Indian Journal of Psychiatry in 2009 showed the effectiveness of prayer and healing, and of course the results were that prayers have improved outcomes in humans, but as well in non-human species. So wound healed faster in animals when they were prayed for than in those animals that were not prayed for. And so this also can exclude the placebo effect that people say, some doctors that don't believe. They'll say, like, oh, there's a placebo effect in the prayer. So if you believe it, even if you take like the sugar pill, you believe that pill will cure you, then you'll be cured. So the animals, they don't have this thought. So how can you prove that this healing was faster when this animal was being prayed for? But they showed also that there was no, one of the studies, some studies, there were no difference, or even after a coronary artery bypass surgery, there was more complications for those who were prayed for than those who didn't know if they were prayed for. But how can you measure that as well? So like even if you say to the person that is going to be operated on, you're going to be part of the study and we are not praying for you. But they still have their thoughts praying for themselves. They have their family members praying for themselves, doctors and nurses praying for them, not themselves, for the patients. So then you cannot measure this in this kind of studies, even if it's a very good methodological study, but you cannot have that. So for millennia, we have prayed and for good health. We have prayed for healing. Have done different types of mechanisms of prayer. So through meditation, through religious group prayers like pilgrimage. Now, I think most of people in Europe and in the world, I think, know Lourdes in France. I don't know if I'm saying Lourdes correctly, but yeah, it's a very beautiful. I've been there, and it's a very, very beautiful place to visit. But since the 1800s, after apparitions of Mary to a girl, people go there and they started documenting then these miracles or the cures from this pilgrimage from the pilgrims that goes there for asking for prayers and praying for the saint, for Mary, for the Virgin Mary, and or drinking the water, the healing water, or bathing in that water. So, and also in these studies, they showed the meditation. Not only this study, but many other studies, they showed that meditation can help in reducing the blood pressure, as we mentioned before, the heart rate, the respiratory rate, promotes cardiorespiratory synchronization, alter levels of melatonin and serotonin, boost the immune system response, reduces stress, anxiety, and pain, and have a favorable influence on overall and spiritual quality of life at end-stage disease. Praying together, religious prayer, or alone. So it showed that social engagement had an impact in the quality of life, reduction of alcohol and cigarette and other substance abuse of them, reduce anxiety and stress, depression, gives emotional support when you are praying together in a group. And we have also the alternative therapies, as we say, but in 2011, a group of Brazilians, including Dr. Marlene Nobre and Giancarlo Lucchetti, did a systematic review of scientific evidence on the use of complementary spiritist therapy. So this would include prayers, laying on of hands, fluid therapy, charity, volunteering, disobsession, spirit education of moral values. We talked about this study in another video, but I'm going to just summarize the praying for oneself in this systematic review of scientific evidence. And in the studies, they found that during or after the coronary artery bypass graft surgery, there was less complication rates after surgery, but they didn't change there was no change in length of hospital stay. But this was also correlated to less preoperative stress, low rates of depression after 1 year of follow-up after surgery. So 2 surgeries, because coronary artery bypass surgery is a very high risk type of surgery. Of course, with time is getting less, but even so, it is a high risk. So we have almost 50% of chance of not so successful outcome after surgery. And you have 2 studies showing opposite results. What I would like to say is that we doctors, physicians, we are taught to avoid giving false hopes to patients. So patients who have limited or 0 chance of cure, according to the statistics, we try not to say to give hope, or sometimes even we maybe we are avoiding giving any hope at all. So we have to remind ourselves as doctors and healthcare workers that yes, they have to keep seeking treatment. They have to continue their treatment. They cannot stop any treatment, but they can continue praying. They pray, having the hope inside themselves, because we know everything is possible. No? And we doctors or some have very strong resistance and disbelief in the power of prayer, thinking, as I mentioned before, that it's a placebo effect. But what about the spontaneous healing? Was a misdiagnosed, or what about those who had really being diagnosed after having a biopsy, and then they have this remission of the tumor, for example. So some things that science still cannot explain, but we will explain someday. And I like to mention always, I think I mentioned in 3 or more videos, that Dr. Jeffrey Rediger is a professor of psychiatry at Harvard. He wrote a book called Cured, when he tells stories of many people who had spontaneous remissions, or they have been cured of chronic illnesses. And he mentioned in his books that diet is very important, sports is very important, but spirituality, the relationships with other people is very important. And forgiveness is a type of cure, as he says. I would add love, because when we love, we forgive. We cannot just say some words, no, because when we love, we have this feeling of love, we can forgive the other. And when we forgive, we don't have, because sometimes we are feeling that someone hurt us, and sometimes this person doesn't even know that she or he hurt us, and we keep that that feeling, that bad energy, ruminating, like that same thoughts and that sadness and that constant level of stress. So there's cortisol all over the body, and we cannot sleep, so we have less melatonin. So it's a circle of low vibration attracting, as Charles said, the low level of spirits, because we are surrounded by spirits, but we are always in that constant tension and anxiety, and this can cause disease, as we said, and as we know already. So forgiving reduces the blood pressure, it reduces the levels of cortisol in the body and the bloodstream, and it helps then consequently your immune system fighting against diseases, viruses, bacteria. So I think, to summarize my talk, is that love is the way. I think that's the true love. That is the way for having a good health, for having a good life, for having quality of life, and that's summarizing. Loving, forgiving, and believing. Faith they are all important in our lives. I'm sorry if I said too much.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Never too much, Nadja. Always good, because you bring the right thing, right moment, right way to say. It is very important to have the 3 aspects about prayer, scientific as well.
Thank you.
Well, I will add some kind of spice in this mix here for you 3 guys. I'm good because you asked the question, so I don't need to answer. Okay. So yeah, of course I answer the question here. I have heard, and we've seen there are a lot of people say, okay, if God is omnipotent, omnipresent, why I need to pray? If I pray, we will change something because it's already, I have my my destiny, and I need to go through that point. I need to go through that problem. I need to die in that way. And why are you gonna pray? I don't need to pray. What's your comments about this statement? You're on mute, Elsa.
I said Charles first. Sorry.
Okay. So I answered more or less to this question, but let's make it even clearer, or try to. Again, it's a question of your will, okay? It's a question of our own vibration, our own symphony. If we pray, we elevate our thoughts and we receive the influence of the good spirits. So we have to do this movement. Nobody can do it on our behalf. If someone is praying for us, it will help us in this movement. But if we don't do this movement, it will not help so much. It's of course also the law of cause and effect that is well known in Spiritism. The people who are abusing, I don't know, food or alcohol or drugs or whatever, the law of cause and effect can be seen in this same life, having problems of health and whatever, lungs, liver or whatever. So it's a question of us always to use our will to be in the best possible harmony with the laws of nature, to take care about our body, to protect ourselves, even in this COVID. You can see, I mean, you can pray, but if you don't use a mask to protect yourself, will the prayer substitute the mask? No, it will not. I mean, we have to do all the first things ourselves and elevate our thoughts. And to go out of these negative symptoms, as I explained, when we have bad thoughts, and we basically do the opposite of what you should do, of what we are indeed doing with prayers, and we stay, and then how to say, all these entities which are around us and the people, you will attract also bad incarnated people, and if you start fighting with someone, the someone will fight more with you, and it's. You must go out of this type of circles and go into the benefic one. And the benefic one, you will attract better people. You will also attract, before anything, the mentors, and they will really help you. And as you told Stevan, God knows. Okay, it's true. If we have, let's say, I give you a concrete example. If we made something very difficult in a past life or committed a suicide or something like that, our spiritual body is injured and has, is suffering consequences of all this. And often the only way to remove this, to clean our spiritual body, is through a physical illness whilst incarnated. So this physical illness is curing our spiritual body. You see? So sometimes the illness is a little bit difficult to say, but sometimes the illness is helping us. It is, how to say, flushing, it is cleaning our spiritual body. And once this is done, then of course we can incarnate again with much less difficulties and much less problem, and to be much more healthy. You see? It's like how to say, when you go to the doctor, you have to take some. Okay, it's not anymore the case so often today, because the pharmaceuticals are putting sugar or good taste in the pills. But sometimes you have to take something bad. It is bad at the moment, but at the end, later on, it is better. And it is exactly like this. So the benefactors, they know what we need, but we need to do this movement to elevate ourselves in order to stay in synchrony with them.
Can I add something?
Wonderful. Yeah.
I was thinking about the thing that people, 10 years ago, I met someone, and she was really upset, not it's a Christian something religion, and she said that her uncle committed suicide, and the priest of the church, I don't know which kind of church, refused to do a prayer for the suicidal people, someone, her uncle. And she was really upset because she belongs to this congregation, something like that. And she knew that I was a spiritist because my hairdresser told her. And she went to come and she wanted to talk with me. She talked with me and asked why and where the souls of suicidal people are going for the hell, something like that. We spoke about that before previous episodes. And yes, we can pray for everyone, every spirit, everywhere, every moment. The prayer is a good energy. Prayer is a flower that's coming, the smell and the blossom, and goes to the person, and the person will feel better. It's refreshing the problems the person is undergoing. So we should pray for everyone, even the suicidal ones. If the next incarnation they will face, as Charles pointed, about suicidal people that commit suicide, the next incarnation come with some illnesses and problems, etc., according to what he had done with his body. But we should pray for them. Even for them, when incarnated again, receive our prayers. We don't know when and why and where these people will reincarnate, if in our family or not in our family again. But we are a spiritual family, a big spiritual family, sons and daughters of God. Our brothers and sisters from Africa, from Lithuania, from Japan, from Australia, they are our brothers and sisters. We have the genes of God in our souls. So our prayer is our talking to our spirit's guide, spiritual benefactors, spiritual that is taking care of our cities, our benefactors from our country. So they are working hard to maintain ourselves in good spiritual health. So we can join our thoughts and pray every day and do for yourself. If you don't use to pray, starting do it and meditate into a prayer and be grateful for your life, whatever you are going or doing. Be grateful for your life, for this incarnation, for your family, for your job. Even if you don't have a job, be grateful, because something is a lesson for ourselves. We have to learn and think about these signals that we are having in our daily lives. So be grateful for everything. Give grace in everywhere and everyone in every moment. So that am I adding to this what Charles said. Thank you.
My turn.
Thank you. Your turn, my dear.
I think when we are going through so much suffering, so much pain, sometimes depression, and or as now the pandemic situation all over the world is. There are some people that ask this question: what's the point? But when we are praying, as we mentioned before, we are elevating our vibration. So if we are praying together, so we are making this vibration even stronger, and this is covering the whole planet and even going beyond. So, and as Elsa said, this is going to our guardian angels. It's going to our spirit of benefactor. The prayers are going to those who are, we don't know who they are, even committing suicide or being dying from violent death. So this good vibration reaches everybody everywhere, and it's the love of God, and we know after the reincarnation and many reincarnations. So why we are here going through all this situation of the pandemic and so many deaths. And I think especially we are from Brazil, and we may know at least one person who had being very ill because of the coronavirus, or someone that died from family members, and we have to pray for them because we have chosen to come here to reincarnate. Some not, but most of us have chosen to come here at this time in the world and go through this, because some things that we've done in the past, like Charles said, so we are paying our debts. So we have to be grateful and always pray for it, for the opportunity of doing good and becoming better persons, becoming and having a good energy around us, and elevating the energy of the planet. And then the suffering will be less and less, and will be reduced up to the point that our word of regeneration will be a word of love and peace, when we don't have any more wars between people, or because of money, or because of religion, and there will be a point that we won't be arguing anymore, and we'll be accepting that we are all brothers and sisters. So effectiveness of prayer, yes, because we have to be just thankful and for the opportunity of paying our debts from the past, so, and carry on. So of course we have to be thankful to God, and this is a way of praying for Him, for us, and for the others. So that's my opinion. Now you can give your opinion, Stevan. We still have a few minutes.
Oh, we are running out of time. It's
it's a difficult question. Huh?
What I'm gonna say is everything is a vibration. Okay, and when we pray, we expand our vibration, as well said by Elsa, by Charles, and you showed the magnetic. So when we pray, we reach that good vibrations, and that's why we feel good. The ideal is always be there, but because we do have our problems, issues, we keep up and down, up and down, and up and down. But that's why when we pray, when we have that 1 second, 2 seconds of peace, we feel good. We feel donate ourselves because our vibrations reach that level.
The next video has something, I think.
Yeah, so I'm showing you now the video. So anyway, 1 second, let me put it here.
If we have a doubt or a question about how to proceed in a certain scenario, in a certain situation, the best thing to do is to do what the Christ taught us, which is to watch and pray. Watch, pay attention to the details in life to see what is happening, and then pray. And what is prayer? Prayer is nothing more than just a simple conversation. Many people think that prayer has to be something beautiful, something that you have to sing, something that to be very involved with. But no, prayer is nothing more than a simple conversation with God that has to come from the heart, because that's all that matters. As long as it's coming from deep within and that it's sincere, then that's a true prayer. And if you ask with sincerity for guidance on what you need to do, and we have the ears to hear like Christ taught us, we will find that right guidance, the moral compass that's going to lead us to that righteous north, so we may be able to navigate the tempestuous waters of this life and of this earth, and find ourselves in solid ground in that one beautiful island of inner peace, which is what we need to do. And it's very simple. It is really just about praying, being careful with what you're doing, following the moral examples of the Christ, and doing what is right and doing what is good in the small things, because in order to be great, we have to be great in the small things, so we can also be humble and great in the big things, because those are the things that awaits us as we progress, as we earn a greater responsibility in our lives. We have to be even greater in order to understand that those responsibilities have to be met with caution, and we have to tackle them with harmony, inner peace, so that we may not fumble, stumble, and fall and allow life itself to consume us. And if we do trip, let's make sure that we trip forward, because at least we are advancing and not just falling and let things conquer us, because we have to do what the Christ did, which is overcome the world. So we have to allow these obstacles to work towards our benefit, because these obstacles are nothing more than beneficial agents that will allow us to proceed and progress in our own individual lives. These obstacles are the medicine that we need to aid all of that which ails us, to help us, to cure us from what we have that's wrong within us. So instead of blaspheming God or blaspheming someone else for what's going on in your life or in our own life, we have to accept it so that we may be called followers of the Christ. Accept that cross so the burden becomes light, the yoke becomes easy. And when we do this, life all of a sudden becomes much easier. It's not as difficult, and the obstacles become easier to surpass and to overcome. And as we do this, in this steep climb of this mountain of life, eventually we'll be able to view this ample horizon where the light of the Father shines ever so bright.
Wonderful, isn't it?
Nice.
But anyway, so my dear friends, we are 2 minutes over our time. I want to say thank you. It's a pleasure to eat the French croissant, drink the Lithuania coffee with the warmest of UK with you guys. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a
all
pleasure.
for watching. Thank you
all
for everyone that is around the world, from Canada, from Brazil, that are joining us tonight. Thank you.
See you soon
The
again.
United States as
Thank you,
well.
guys. I'll see you next Thursday, okay? 9 p.m. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.